Hello. This is Cortez Jenkins with another video for individualism. Today's video is going to be about making a budget. It's funny enough, and almost as facetious as it sounds, 90% of Americans, almost pretty much 90% of the entire world, does not know how to budget. We all somehow spend way more than our means and way above our means, when it's actually quite simple to do the opposite, and it feels way better. I actually just I went to the bank. I think last video I made, I was at the bank, maybe 2 videos ago. I went to the bank today just to put a little deposit in. And so the thing about budgeting is all you got to do is figure out how much money do you make after taxes. Stop worrying about what you make before taxes. That is a scam. You realize that's a scam, right? There's something called gross and net, and I know a lot of people haven't taken accounting. They haven't took this type of easy assessments, even though you should easily know what gross and net is, and you should definitely know the difference. You guys don't understand that you can't subtract all of your expenses from your gross. You have to subtract that from your net. And that's the problem. You're already putting yourself in a deficit without even realizing it. You say, "Oh, I make 60,000 a year, so it means I make 5,000 a month. So it means ... When you really only take home $3,600. So how are you doing budgeting on a 5,000 a month spreadsheet when you're only making $3,600? You're still missing the $1,600. Where is that coming from? You don't get that back. That money's gone. You might get a small return back at the end of the year, but most of you guys don't have the deductions to even get money back in the first place. So you're only getting whatever the government tells you you're going to get. You don't have the control over that yet, right? Listen, but when you budget, you're not supposed to subtract from your gross. You're supposed to subtract from your net. So let's just get that out the way. So let's say if you make $3,600, now you have to understand you might need to be true to yourself, which means you might have to let go of things, or you might have to whatever. And what I mean by subtracting or adding things as in you might have to get another job. Subtracting things as in you might have to get rid of extra subscriptions that you have in your phone, extra gym memberships you don't attend to, different stuff. You can work out at home. You don't need to pay $50, $60 a month for a gym if you cannot afford it. If you can't afford it, if it's hurting you to see that $50 leave your account every single day, or every single month, then you should probably get rid of the subscription. It shouldn't be a pain thing. If it's painful for you to pay rent every single month, you should find cheaper rent. All of these things, it's pretty easy. The only reason why it's hard is because you're making it hard. You want 4 cars in your driveway. You cannot even drive 4 cars simultaneously, yet you have 4 cars. You don't even have that many people in your household. You just have 4 cars because you like cars. You can't afford the cars, but you like cars. So tell me how that makes sense. How does that make sense for you for the long run? Like, let's think about our actual life here. Let's think about 10-year, 20-year, 30-year goals. How does that actually help you? This is what I'm saying. Most people are against themselves. They're not with themselves. You're against yourself. Right now, you guys are watching this video. You guys have spent money at eating out. You spent money on breakfast, eating out. You spent money on lunch, eating out. And you're going to spend money on dinner, eating out. And guess what? You're going to do this for the next 6-7 months. So you have no money. And then what you're going to do? You're going to use credit. You're going to use Klarna. Then you're going to use Afterpay. You're going to use all these different forms of payments. You're going to defer because you just can't afford to do that, because you've just maximized all your money. Money you could have used to grow. Money you could have used for investments. When you get to a point where, look, I made a video, and it's the stages of life. And when I recommended you guys watch this video, I'm gonna get it on up here in the corner. And the stages of life, as you get to the higher stages, you don't worry about money. That is the problem. Why do you think people who are retired, they live a better life? They don't think about money. When you don't think about money, you start thinking about people. You start thinking about, how can I help people? How can I help the world? How can I be a service? How can I be an impact to people's day-to-day lives? That's what you start to think. So the problem is, when you're not thinking like that, Just had a phone call. Well, you're not thinking like that. You're thinking selfishly. And sometimes you guys are too selfish to the point where you're spending more money than you have. Get your net income per month and break that down. Start taking more trips to the grocery store. Stop eating out. If you eat out 3 times a week, start eating once a week. Just start slowing it down. You don't have to go cold turkey. I understand psychologically you guys are just not built like that. You don't have the wherewithal. You guys are weak. I understand in 2026, most people are weak. When you watch this video, you're weak. And you won't be able to say anything about that because generally, you're going to look at this video, you're going to think, what is he talking about? But at the end of the day, you're probably struggling watching this video yourself. Probably scrolling, doom scrolling, came across this video late night on a rabbit hole. I'm just trying to do service. I'm still out here grinding. I'm still out here getting things right. But at the end of the day, I don't spend more money than I make. So at the end of the day, I could do whatever I want. I can go on vacation next week. I can go on vacation tomorrow. I can go to the nicest steakhouse in the area. I can do these things because I actually thought in my head, like you guys should, that, hey, I make this much amount of money. How can I save? To me, I'm at the point now where I save 75% of my income. 75% of the income net, right, after taxes, comes to me, and I invest that. 25% goes to my expenses. It goes to healthcare. It goes to my rent. Also goes to my car. It also goes to my groceries. That is what I call my expenses. That's in the 25%. All of that's included. Even the rainy day and a fund. I have a rainy day and a fun fund. As I said, a fun fund, which means for dates, which means for me doing random cool stuff that I want to do, jet skis, whatever. That's built into the expense. My 75% does not touch any of that. That's totally separate. That's what I'm saying. I have enough money to where I can build in my expense fun stuff. And I have a rainy day for if my tire, something happened with my tire 2-3 months ago, my tire had popped. I paid for that. It was very easy. I did not have to worry about taking the money out to pay for it. I like Michelin tires, by the way. So those are $330 tires. So I was able to quickly pull that money out and we got it done. I didn't have to sit there and stress, didn't have to sit there sighing, none of that. Quick transaction. Business is business. You should always expect something is going to happen when you think proactively. Like I said in my other videos, and I always say this, proactive over reactive. I should probably get a t-shirt that says that. You think a little differently. The world works totally different, right? But today's video, I'm not going to keep it going. I just want to keep it fresh with y'all because for real, I think we got to stop babying y'all. Y'all are some little ass kids. See, I can cuss now because I gave it some time in the video. I understand how it works. But you guys are some little ass kids. Get your stuff together. Why are you still broke? You're grown. Some of you got kids. Like, why are you broke? You can't make excuses anymore, man. If you're grown and broke, it's your fault. And you need to start looking yourself in the mirror and actually start to figure out what are you doing wrong, because clearly there's something you're doing wrong. You're not doing anything right. So if you're not doing something right, why are you still doing it? It's simple. You keep doing the things you do right, you stop doing the things you do wrong. That's pretty simple. It's simple. If you eat out at McDonald's every single day, you know you have a problem. Why is it that hard for you to not figure that out? Why are you challenging yourself to figure out why you're still broke when you know why you're broke? You know. You're the one doing it. You're the only person around here spending money like that. So if you always spend money like that, then you clearly know that you're the reason why you're broke. So then you know what you need to stop doing. When you stop doing that and you start keeping that money, then you evidently save more money. Once you evidently save more money, then you're able to have more time. When you have more time, you're able to have more resources. You can do things. You can start looking at other opportunities. Your eyes are not clogged because of the next bill. You're able to see 10 bills ahead because you are able to be proactive, not reactive. Start doing that. Change your life. I'm going to keep saying it because why not? I could just keep making hundreds of videos saying the same thing. And it's always going to bring new people because everybody still somehow does it. You've learned from your parents learned from your grandparents, and so forth. You guys have always been horrible with money. And it's time to break those curses. Peace.